The story goes that the men were out in the fields one day and left the children and the women back home. The Utes at the time were still, again, not really crazy about the idea that these Hispanos were settling in what they still believed was their area. And so they decided that they were going to attack the little placita over here of San Acacio. My name is Jason Medina. I am a fourth generation San Luis native, which means that my great-great-grandparents not only lived here, but some of them were born here. In 1851 is when the actual town was established in the state of Colorado, but you need to back up well before that. I hate when history's told and it says that the Hispanos are the first people that come through here. That's not at all the case. So well even before the tribes of Native Americans that came through, there were indigenous people who were bands of people that came and were in this place. This was the most incredible place to come and hunt because there were buffalo, elk, antelope, deer. But this was the land of the Utes. The Utes pretty much took all of the territory from what is now about Santa Fe all the way up to what is now about where the Arkansas River starts. This was actually coined San Luis back in 1542, Francisco de Coronado. He came in 1542, and they believed that he actually got here on or about August 25th of 1542. August 25th is the feast day of Saint Louis, or Saint Louis, who was the King of France. So actually this area got its name from San Luis, Rey de Francia. And that was 200 years prior to actually somebody making a settlement here. For that much time, this place was actually known as San Luis. And then the rest of the valley was coined as El Valle de San Luis. The land grants are the real reason that people were given the opportunity to come down over here and do this. One of them was Carlos Bubian. And in 1841, he actually petitioned to Governor Armijo to see if they could get a land grant up north. And it happened to be 1.7 million acres that he asked for in the Bubian-Maxwell grant. The Bubian-Maxwell grant was actually on the other side of the Sangre de Cristos and went all the way to what we now know as Bent's Fort back over there. In 1843, they then petitioned for another 1 million acres for the Sangre de Cristo land grant, and that's what we're sitting on today. The three things, I guess, that the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo promised were preservation of land, language, and culture. Those were promised, and at one time or another were really cherished, sometimes taken away from people and sometimes given back. But the culture is one thing that can never be taken away from this place. We have had to actually preserve our own culture because, again, that identity crisis really needed us to dig in and hold on to the cultural aspects of our area, which are a lot of different things. The Catholic Church is still the biggest institution in our area, and that's why all of the missions were named what they were. We still celebrate La Fiesta de Santiago y Santana. Santiago is St. James, who is a first cousin of Jesus, and Santana was the grandmother or mother of Mother Mary. Our culture, again, is mixed. You know, we are now learning about our indigenous histories, and maybe the reason that we're learning now is because some of that indigenous history didn't fit a narrative at one time or another and maybe wasn't told. So one thing in a story that's really not told is the spiritual significance of this place. Obviously, these are called the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, the blood of Christ. That was apparently coined by a friar that was here at one time or another that came during the Spanish conquests. But this is a really spiritual place for a lot of different people. The Hopi people believe that their creation story happened where the San Luis Lakes are, which is just 20 miles north of us. The Dene, the Navajo people, believe that Mount Blanca, which they called Tzitznajini. Tzitznajini is one of the 4 sacred mountains of the Dene people. There's a great story in the Fort Garland Museum that's being told now, and Eric Carpio is so incredible in making sure that those histories are told. But again, a lot of our culture is even being revamped because we're learning a little bit more about our history. If you see some of the street art that's down in town, there are these incredible murals that are down there in town, and they will always tell the story of our Spanish and our Mexican and our indigenous heritage. And it's just really important to make sure that those cultures are preserved. It is important for the people who are still here, to embrace all 3 of those cultures, to teach that. because a lot of that is oral history, and again, a lot of that wasn't even told because it really almost didn't fit a narrative at one time or another. All of those traditions, all those histories I grew up doing, and those are the most important memories that I can think of. And our town will continue to be La Plaza de San Luis del Rio Culebra. So that will never go away. Even if that part was taken off of the name San Luis, it's still there. It's still something that we believe in, and it's just something that'll never go away.
This video was created by the Sangre de Cristo National Heritage Area as part of their work in historic preservation and telling the stories of our community. Thanks for watching.